Slutcha, how do you do, buckaroos? How the heck are you? Mine a little later today than usual. Wife and I got out for a little bit this afternoon, and we both got home we were tired and took a little nap. So I'm a little late getting started. Anyways, I decided to do two versions of a martini, one of vodka, the other using some corn whiskey. There, I got this fixed here. Give that adjusted us there. Close enough. Anyways, I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer for the purpose of this video. Although I did say one of them is a vodka martini, I did use some corn whiskey. A little bit of this. Well, that doesn't tell you what it was, but that's where I had it anyway. I had a little bit left of well, just enough for one drink anyway, of the Pinckney Bend Rusted Corn Whiskey at 100 proof. So I used it as a dirty martini here, but then I also made a vodka dirty martini as well, using my last four feta stuffed olives. So I think we'll start with the vodka. What vodka did I use? That's a very good question. Uh, I knew that's what you were going to ask. So I picked this up back in August when we were in Kansas City area. This is from Restless Spirits Distilling out of North Kansas City, Missouri. Duffy's Run vodka at 90 proof. It's a beautifully done 90 proof vodka. This stuff is just incredible. This little noir scene behind me. That was perfect for a martini, if you will. Oh man, man, that's nice. The martini, the classic aperitif or before dinner drink. And I use the whiskey for the other because well, bourbon or whiskey in general is a perfect digestive, the perfect after dinner drink. Although gin is classic, some will substitute vodka. I'm a believer, and you can use whatever you want. Just make the drink. You can call it something different if you like. If you're not comfortable calling it martini, but there is something classic about this preparation. Wife made some candied limes the other day, and I think there's some syrup left, so I might do a version of a gimlet later. Although I am now out of vodka and gin, so it will be done with some whiskey, a whiskey gimlet, if you will. I keep getting gimlet and Gibson mixed up, and they're very different drinks. The gimlet uses the lime, where the Gibson uses cocktail onions. So I keep getting those two mixed up in my head there. Oh man, that really is good vodka. I'm sad to see it go. But like I said, I've had it since August, so it's been around a minute. Used it here and there, and I had some other products too I'd been using. I like to mix things up a little bit. Got a little bit. I kind of forgot I had this here just now. Not sure. There's probably not enough to make a martini out of it. Now that I look at it, got a little of this Ova Pearl left. Might do something with that later. But you really need a minimum of 2 ounces to do a martini. I tend to go 2.5 to 3. but you really need a minimum of two. Uh, that perfect relaxing cocktail, right? Anybody remember the 70s? Those three martini lunches? I didn't participate in them myself, but I am aware they existed because I sat in the bar for a few. But that's a story for another day. I love watching old Rockford Files. I see those guys meeting in the middle of the day, knocking drinks back. That was commonplace back in the 70s and even a little bit into the 80s. Then it kind of went away. Those early happy hours, a lot of places did early happy hours. You saw a lot of 1 to 4 happy hours. A lot of places would do like noon to 3 and then 4 to 6, or 1 to 3 and then 4 to 6, something like that. Yeah. Kind of, well, you had that early happy hour for the lunch crowd, and then you'd have that early happy hour for the folks leaving work early before you start getting busy in the evening. You wanted to get that early crowd in there to stimulate some business because sometimes they didn't leave, right? They got there at happy hour at 4, but come 6:30, they were having another drink at full price because now they were feeling pretty good about themselves. Oh, mercy. Yeah, I turned some TV on when my wife and I got home, and next thing I know, we were both asleep. So I got a little behind here. I was getting ready to do a video earlier, but then I got sidetracked. Oh, mercy. A really nice, interesting corn whiskey. It's rested. I believe it's only aged about a year, but enough to really pick up some of those nice oak notes, right? Mellow out the whiskey just a little bit, although the products there at Pinckney Bend are just superb. I've always enjoyed doing a version of a martini with the whiskey, especially dirty. And I've been doing a lot of stuff with lemons and limes lately because we have them. So when I come back later this evening, they'll probably do something with a lemon and or a lime on a two for Tuesday, if you will. Uh, there's a little sports bar not far from where we live, and we've lived in this area for 5 years, and we've been talking about going there for 5 years. Oh no, 6 years. I've been here for 6 years. We're talking about going there for 6 years. Well, this is the first time we've actually made it there. I don't know why, but anyway, they do half price appetizers for their happy hour, so we went and split two appetizers. I think that's why we took a nap. We were just full. Came home was, oh man, I was pooped. Man, that's a nice cocktail. So it really brings out, you get this whiskey cold and it really brings those sugars to the surface. So you have that nice sweet corn whiskey balanced by that dirty martini, if you will. Although I did not use any dry vermouth. Some dry martini recipes call for it, some don't. It's really a matter of preference. Most of the time, I will skip the dry vermouth, but every once in a while, I'll put it in. Sometimes I just like the idea. I'll just take the bottle and wave it around the glass. I get it right next to it, give it a little kiss, and then and put the bottle away. Just let the martini know that the dry vermouth is in the vicinity. Just the notion of dry vermouth. I'm out of cherries at the moment, so I can't do a Manhattan. I guess I need to break down and buy some cherries. I bought some last time I bought some was in January. I picked up some at in Tulsa, but I've since used them. They were really good. It wasn't the Luxardo brand or the Marashka, but it was a very good brand. Man, you couldn't tell a difference. But and I just used them all. I don't really eat the cherries though. For me, that's more of a garnish. Some people like to eat them. It's partly why I hate to spend as much as the Marasco or the Luxardo cost, but I also want to make a proper Manhattan. So when I do change the brands, it's got to be something right there. Collins makes a nice dark cherry as well. You can't really tell the difference, and they only run about they run about half the price as the Marasco or the Luxardo. As long as you're not putting that bright red, just don't drop a bright red cherry in a martini. Drives me absolutely batshit crazy when I'm watching a TV show and they're telling me about their perfect Manhattan and they serve it with with their with the red cherry. I can't remember what we were watching the other day, but they were at this very, it was supposed to be this very upscale posh bar, and they serve a Manhattan with a bright red cherry. I told my wife, there is no way in the hell a bar like that would serve that Manhattan. I don't know why they can't. I mean, they hire, police consultants to get that right. They hire medical consultants to get that right. Hire a bar consultant. Get the cocktails right, man. As soon as you make a bad Manhattan, you've lost me. Your show no longer has any credibility to no more credibility. I can't watch it. I got to turn this movie off now. I can't take it anymore. They've lost me. I've lost the whole plot. I was buying everything up till now. But now I know it's all bullshit because they can't make a decent Manhattan. Yeah, I go on rants, man. When I see that, my wife's just shaking her head at me. Uh, it does drive me crazy though when they can't get little stuff right. I'm not one of those that pick apart a movie like some do. In fact, my wife will do that too. She'll say, "Well, they did this here, they did this here," but she gets mad at me for picking apart a Manhattan. I'm not paying attention to a lot of little details, but some things you got to get right. If you're making me aware that they're serving a Manhattan, it ought to look like a fucking Manhattan. That's all I'm saying. And a real Manhattan does not, I repeat, does not have a bright red cherry in it under no circumstances, especially if you're looking at if a place is supposed to be this rich, upscale, lounge. No, there's no way they're going to drop a bright red cherry in a Manhattan. Now, if they're at a dive bar, okay, but you shouldn't be ordering Manhattan at a dive bar anyway. Anyway, anyway, digress. Don't get me started. But that is one thing that really fires me up, though. Boy, I'll go on and on about that bright red cherry. Oh my gosh, you cannot put a cherry like that in a Manhattan. And use whatever sweet vermouth you like. I don't care. Although you really need to put a good sweet vermouth in, and I've emphasized this as well that your cocktail is only as good as the ingredients you put in. A lot of folks say, "Well, you don't need a top shelf whiskey for a Manhattan." No, maybe not top shelf, but you still need to. You can't use a well, right? It still has to be a good quality whiskey. I know there's a lot of younger folks will, and a lot of bars are doing it now. They didn't used to, but they are now. Are using Buffalo Trace for their old fashions, and to me that just doesn't work because Buffalo Trace, although it's not a bad whiskey, it is a wheated bourbon, which makes it a little softer, a little sweeter. And you've already got a sweet drink with an old fashioned. You really need, if you're going to use bourbon, you need to use a traditional bourbon that uses rye because you're adding sugar to your drink. I think that was my issue with a lot of old fashions. A lot of folks are using the wrong ingredients, or they're just making it too sweet. You're taking an already sweet bourbon, you're adding sugar to it, But again, I think a lot of folks younger than me like the cocktail a little sweeter. But I think that's one reason why it took me so long to warm up to it, because I felt like a lot of places are just doing it wrong. You really shouldn't use a wheated bourbon in an old fashioned. I had a friend who would pull out his Buffalo Trace when he was having friends over to make an old fashioned. So they would see the bottle on the counter, but he'd actually make the drink with Evan Williams bottled and bond, and then go on and on about how great the cocktail was. The Evan Williams bottled and bond, although maybe not a great whiskey, is one of the best whiskey values out there, and it is a not a bad whiskey for mixing. It wouldn't necessarily be my first choice for an old fashioned, but we think they were, his friends were going on and on about what a great drinker was, thinking they're drinking the Buffalo Trace, but they're actually drinking a traditional bourbon that uses rye as a secondary. So they're having the drink technically prepared the right way with the right balance. They just, in their mind, it's a different whiskey. I've never done that per se, but what I have done on occasions is bring out the whiskey they think they want and make the drink that way, or and then for cocktail number two or three, change it without telling them, and they can't. After you've had a couple, nobody can tell a difference. You got folks that think they can, but they can't. The last of my pink bed, I thought about drinking it neat, but this is still a whiskey forward cocktail where I can still taste the whiskey. I just used just a little bit of olive juice in here to make it a dirty martini. So I'll take a little break and ponder what the next two cocktails would be. I've had that nap in the late afternoon. I slept from about what time did I wake up? Guess it was about what 7:30. Because I slept from about 6 to 7:30, something like that. We had that late happy hour snack, so I was waiting to fix dinner, but now we had a little snack. I went ahead and fixed something, mostly so I wouldn't have to fix breakfast. We made a nice crustless quiche Lorraine. We'll probably just have about a slice of that. And I've got plenty for breakfast in the morning. So there you go. Anyways, I digress. I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey Evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, purveyor of wisdom. And what have we learned today, Dorothy? Well, we've learned you can make a martini or a martini-inspired cocktail out of whatever you want. It's your home, it's your bar. Do whatever you want. Don't let some cocktail Nazi tell you different. We also learned that you should never, under any circumstances, put a bright red cherry in a Manhattan. That shit will make me go full postal. I will go full curmudgeon, baby. Don't make me go full curmudgeon. Anyway, one more time, feeling I need that on a shirt. I keep trying to get somebody to design me a logo because I want to get some stickers printed. Need someone just to kind of make a character of my face, caricature of my face. Anyways, one more time, I'm feeling I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey Evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, purveyor, wisdom, and all around good guy, luncher.